All right, let's find out about data centers now.
We're essentially building the digital prison of the future, a system that knows you better than you know you.
Ooh.
Why do we need to bury family farms and make fortunes for some people and steal fortunes from other people? It doesn't.
What I don't like is why are all these people who are farmers so fat? These people seem like welfare cases too, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. The farmers seem like welfare cases generally. Yeah, bro's cosplaying as a lemon. Yeah, it's just very the data centers are a bad thing. They are gonna like cause problems. And so it's like a thing, but like also like, dude, there's no way you can't tell me that you're working hard if you're like 600 pounds. I'm sorry. There's nobody who's working hard who's 600 pounds.
Make sense.
Get out of the way, Chief. Nope, get out of the way. You work for us.
Blissfully ignorant of local politics until Microsoft showed up in my backyard.
And I wanted to talk about how we were using an Israeli cybersecurity company to monitor all employee communications.
I think AI will probably, most likely, sort of lead to the end of the world.
That creepy quote is from big tech CEO Sam Altman, whose company OpenAI
Probably
is one
true,
of the
though.
biggest names in artificial
Probably true though.
intelligence. Folks, when you
It's
look
not a coincidence we were born on the brink of singularity. Like the idea that you're gonna have the singularity in your lifetime would like just imply that like you just loop back to the beginning, like everything gets reset to like your birth infinitely forever. Because it's like, what are the odds of all the time in history you could be born that you're born right on the edge of like artificial intelligence, completing something and solving something that's like a work and all like matters of logic and reason. What are the odds that you're born on the edge in that timeline right before it flips to like everything's automated? So chances are it's just we get that and then everything resets to our exact life. And we're just stuck in a loop. We're stuck in an infinite loop where that just happens over and over again forever, the exact same way every single time. Can you delay the game so the world doesn't end? Nah, dude, I gotta use. Look, if it's we gotta drop out of high school again. Yeah, I think so, dude. I think that's what happens. That's like one of the many like things I think happens. I have like maybe 10, 20 different things I think are probably 100% true. They all are different and they all can't be compatible with each other. But I am very sure each of them is correct.
Look around the country, it appears the majority of citizens are against data centers moving into their town.
Whether through song,
Not here, not anywhere.
Protests against an AI
Facts.
data center in Union County, New Jersey.
Yet despite this, there are hundreds of them springing up around the nation. Now, here's what big tech executives are telling us on why we should be welcoming data centers into our communities.
we are going to be the dominant player, or China's going to be the dominant player,
I'm you
and
and your meat.
there
We're
will
all
just
each
be
other.
very different rules depending on who wins.
Powering the AI revolution, while also advancing a more reliable, affordable, and clean power grid.
Everybody's ChatGPT, everybody gets it for free, and everybody has access to just this like crazy thing such that everybody can be more productive, make way more money.
AI is the biggest technical thing ever in my lifetime. I mean, it is so profound.
However, for many Americans, there is a growing suspicion that they will be the ones to foot the bill for this endeavor while big tech rakes in the reward and profits. And if this data center bet goes wrong, the downsides could be catastrophic. It could mean the destruction of our drinking water supply, the collapse of our already weakened electrical grids, massive price hikes on our monthly utility bills, and giving the government the power of extreme mass surveillance. And the list goes on. So with much on the line, I decided to travel across the country to understand this data center tsunami that is coming our way. So let's begin. But first, a quick word from the sponsor of today's episode. Folks, for this documentary, we've been on the road, a lot of road trips. All I have is my laptop. When I'm working with really big files, like when we got these to go, I want how his computer work. Jim Brown back home watching this. Right, they're gonna see.
Microsoft is building a massive.
Everything will end and everyone will die. Yeah, dude, I think so. I think that's the case. I don't know. There's the problem of like reality is that like That doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. Reality shouldn't exist. Like nothing should exist, but it does. So it's like, it's just like we're inside of something that doesn't really make any sense. So you can't really. But the problem with that is that everything inside of it makes sense, right? And when you look at something, when you like discover something, well, there's no rules that don't make any sense. You can always find how they make sense. So the fact that we're inside something that doesn't make any sense makes no sense because everything makes sense, you know? So it's something outside of our real ability to really understand. But the fact that it's still everything exists means that like just say there's like a 1% chance every year, right? That or 1 in a million chance every year that the universe implodes. And then you have infinite, years. All that would mean is that like you have it's 100% gonna fail, right? Because it's like even if it's a 0.001% chance that the universe implodes and like dies and it goes to nothing. If you have a million years or you have an infinite amount of years, 10 trillion years, more than that, right? You're just that's going to happen one of those times, right? So there's no way the universe can be destroyed because we're on an infinite line of time, right? An infinite amount of time. So it all has to balance out. But as we look around, we can see that it's kind of like outside of Earth. It's kind of like barren and desolate, and not filled with life. So we can kind of infer that like at some point, something happens where everything resets somehow. You have to loop around forever. Your axioms are rationality, subset of the irrational. Paul Tenahan, have you heard of backpropagation? Yeah, for like patterns and stuff. What are you talking about? For like trades? For like trying to do day trading?
New AI data center right here in Wisconsin. A project.
Yeah, it's just not it's not possible for the world to end or all life to end, and we end up back here eventually. There's zero possibility. Now maybe we go to a different reality, right? Maybe you die and then you go to a different realm, completely new to different dimensions, completely different like amount of time. Like you operate in a way that is completely foreign to any of us. See colors you can never see, senses that you can never sense here, things, structures that you could never really comprehend. But then eventually, through whatever happens, whether how many loops it takes, you eventually end up the exact same life forever. Boom.
That could soon impact all of us.
We're pulling into a Wisconsin farmhouse that has been negatively impacted by this nearby data center.
I love the anti-AI stuff. Very keen timeline. Well, I'm not anti-AI because I think it's good. I think it's cool, but 100% is going to cause a lot of problems. Like it's going to be, I think, like the thing that makes rich people richer, makes people who are wealthy wealthier, and squeezes most people. Squeezes a ton of people that like just ruins lives. And the nice thing about it is it will affect white people, black people, Jews, Chinese people, Japanese people, Koreans. It'll really affect everybody equally over time because it's going to basically just get better and better. And even if there's, just say they hit a roadblock, right? Tomorrow, and it doesn't get better for 5,000 years or 500 years, right? Eventually it is going to get better. Eventually there's going to be a better version of it. And it's not going to hit a roadblock in that way. But just say they did, right? And then there's a 500-year delay. It doesn't matter. That's 500 years from now. Because in 500 years it's going to happen. So it's like being made aware of like, it's like being a character in a book and being made aware that you're a character in a book and the book has an end. And it doesn't matter if that page is the next page or 500 pages, 1,000 pages, 10,000 pages. Eventually, that book is going to be finished and everything in that book is going to be closed, right? And that's the reality. That's the future. But yeah, I think you die, you might come back. AI is ready to roadblock. It's backpropagation, so that's its only trick. Are you talking about like are you talking about like, what are you talking about, the backpropagation? Explain more than just backpropagation. Are you just saying like it's like poisoning its own data set or whatever? AI is working, dude. Sorry, I'm reading it right now. What's the problem? Well, I don't understand. What are you saying though? The roadblock. No, it's like saying humans have a roadblock because you can't know everything in the world. It's like, no, you don't need to. That's the thing. You don't need to know everything in the world. Like, we'll see. Well, as time goes on, you'll see. But like, at a certain point, AI becomes more efficient than most people. It becomes more valuable to pay for AI services than to hire an employee. Right? So at a certain point, it becomes more valuable to hire an employee to pay for a computer, whether it's in robot form or just in a computer program form, right? It becomes more cost effective to do that than to hire a normal person or even a smart person. And once that happens, then all of a sudden it's like, well, I run this big company. Why wouldn't I replace my workers in my factories with robots? Why wouldn't I replace my accountants, my 10,000 accountants with, 5 accountants managing, a robot? So you just have, it's just a very big, there is like a very structural problem with that, because it's like, then they're the rich people. Who's gonna, how are you gonna stop them? You know what I mean? If they have the money, all that stuff. It's the basis of all AI we have now. You have the questions and answers. You make the neural ways to figure out how to make the questions, have the right answers. What I'm saying is, why are you saying that's a problem, dude? You don't need, it works. It is getting better and better and better. It works. What is the gripe you have? I don't even understand what you're saying. Like, I don't know. Like, it can't work. Well, it works. It already works. It might never get better. It already is going to change everything, dude. We're already past the points. Because questions and answers are a limited set. No, they're not. We can generate questions. What are you talking about? You can have people generate questions. You can easily have people generate questions and stuff like that. And there is infinite and more questions. There's no... Basically, the thing is, there's just so, like, it already works. If it didn't work, then that's a valid thing. Like, even before it worked, I was like, oh, it's not really going to do anything. I was wrong. And it's like, okay, now I'm wrong. Where do I go from here? Oh, I think it's cool, actually. It works. It actually worked way better than I thought it would. So it's like, that's, we're not at the place of, like, will this work? It already works. But we have the answers too. Yeah, but just like I can throw a baseball, but I can't throw a baseball as well as David Cohn could throw a baseball. Why would you hire me to throw a baseball when you can hire David Cohn at like half the price? David Cohn, who never asked for a raise. David Cohn, who never will get old. David Cohn, who never get an injury. David Cohn, who will literally just do what you want whenever you want. There's zero, it's just better.
Their story. And just remember, what's happening to this family could happen to you, could happen to your
But at the end of the day, Jesus will win. Shout out David Cohn. Yeah, shout out David Cohn, dude. At the end of the day, Jesus will win. All right. I just want them to build a third temple, honestly. That's my... Not to bring about the end of the times, just because I don't think anything will happen when they build the third temple. Call me a hater and a doubter. But I think they should build a third temple. And, because that would be so funny, because nothing would happen. And then, like... it would be, like, very existential like moment for everybody, because most of the world is either Christian, Jewish, or Muslim. So it would be very interesting what would happen if like something that's supposed to kick off the end of the world, nothing would happen. So it's one of those things. I think about this a lot, where if everyone stopped for a second, right, for a day, if every single person, every single race, every single age, gender, religion, stop trying to like screw each other over for the day, right? You'd have world peace. But then what? All this, so you take away all like this, take away like people who are unable to make rent, take away people who are unable to, work hard. Everybody just got very peaceful for a single day. What would happen? Nothing would happen. There's no like answer. There's no like, what would be the purpose of life? What would be like the purpose of like existence? What would be the, where would humanity go if all of a sudden everyone got along? Nowhere, because there's nowhere to go. And that's the freaky part when you think about it. There's no point to any of this. So it's like, that's kind of like an interesting, like that's like a little thought experiment I've had for a while, where it's just like, Yeah, what if all of a sudden every single world religion, including like the Asian ones, whatever, was proven false? Just somehow, just not through like aliens or something. Just everyone somehow all of a sudden 100% knew every single religion was false. They didn't know what the truth was, but every single established religion was false. It would be like, it would just destroy the entire world because nobody would people would be so like lost about what to do. Um, it'd be very interesting to see. AI doesn't have to outdo. Females are magical creatures and so awe-inspiring. That's nice, Vivek Vance. But we have to have the answer. Existence is strife. I think it's just in our nature. Well, the thing is, there's not. It's like, it is one of those things. It's like there isn't really a good answer for it. I'm not even saying like, oh, this is like what I want to have happen, and this is like good, and this is like what we're working towards. I don't think there is something to work towards. I don't think there is like a I don't think there is like some like grand narrative that's to work towards. I think that's like incorrect. I think there's stuff that's just completely forms of cognition and like consciousness and intelligence that exist outside of our reality. And as a result, it's like my game. You have the chess piece and you have the mouse, and you have the knight and you have the pawn. And it's like in the game they're doing stuff. Right now I'm controlling it, but it's doing stuff. There's no conception or reality that those pieces will ever be like, I wonder why I'm here to do this, and how do I exist, and how do I move? What am I moving on? What is the meaning of this? I think it's the same thing with humanity. I think there's like something outside of humanity, and then there's something outside of that, and it just exists in like a dimensional space and like senses that we can't even comprehend, like that like isn't even in our ability to imagine, and it just goes up and up and up even more. And Paul Town disavows Hegel. Sure, I don't really care. But yeah, I think that's the truth of it. The truth of it is there's no really end goal, because if there was an end goal, we'd be there already. We've had an infinite amount of time to do stuff, so I think it just loops around forever. It's just insane. You would have to figure out what the rules of reality are for. Yeah, I think the best way to guess is like think about, well, what is like a core thing of life that like everybody is like doing, and it's like, well, everyone's trying to be happy, everyone's trying to like fulfill their needs. And like, what is the end result? What is the thing they're doing that they wouldn't do otherwise? Well, it's like making stuff, whether it's like a family or a company or a game or like a country or a building. It's like production of something is like production of ideas, production of whatever. We're probably just like that type of thing. That's if we're on a higher level. There's like some person. It's like machine learning, but for we're like a biological, or universe is like a biological computer for something else that's not biological. That's like more complex.
Members that live out in the country, I think rural people are being...
Joker speaks on this. Yeah. All compute for video games just determining what color each pixel should be. Yeah, that's true too. And all computers just a point and click. Everything's just point and click with computers. It's literally just like, yeah, it's just very interesting. But yeah, I think it just goes infinitely out. You know what I mean? But who knows? Because when you think about it, like there's like these little bugs that live in your face, little microbes, and they like look like caterpillars. And you zoom in enough, and they have like they exist, right? To us, they don't even exist. We don't see them. But if you zoom in enough on your skin, you'll see like little bugs crawling along your skin who live on your face. And it's one of those interesting, or not really a bug, but like they look like a bug. Did you learn about ray tracing in your certificate? What do you mean in my certificate?
Disproportionately affected by this crisis.
And Big Bongo's face, especially a lot of disgusting bugs on that.
A data center is a massive industrial warehouse filled with thousands of computer servers that store and process digital information. These facilities serve as the backbone of the internet, making everything from streaming video to
it'll be interesting to see how stuff changes with AI. It'll be very interesting.
Artificial intelligence possible. And to begin this episode,
or degree in school, ray tracing. No, I just did it was like computer science stuff. I only got an associate's. I started to go for my bachelor's, but I dropped out to join a startup or whatever. I never really. It was very basic stuff, honestly. Just like array. It's just like an associate's in computer science stuff, so it's like not that complicated. It was still good to do though, honestly. It was enjoyable. I would have never done Java otherwise, but I know about ray tracing, not from school though.
We visit farmers in Beaver Dam, Wisconsin, where almost a stone's throw away from their house, Meta began building a billion-dollar data center. And well,
Wisconsin mentioned. Beaver Dam, Wisconsin data center. Dude, they better not mess up Wisconsin. Wisconsin is such like the best state in the entire country.
that's when the trouble began to start.
Wisconsin is literally the best state in the entire country. I don't know. They better not mess with Wisconsin.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for having us.
Sure.
Good to see you, brother. How are you? Yeah.
Charlie Behrens is a beloved Wisconsin comedian and Emmy-winning journalist who has been traveling the state and speaking at rallies to help
Yo,
locals
it's Fishback, dude. Fishback's long lost.
fight against data centers. Today, we join forces in Beaver Dam.
How long has this been in the family?
It's been in the Frank family since 1974. This farm has been
Now
established.
that I know that they're Wisconsin, okay, them being fat doesn't matter. Everyone in Wisconsin's fat. So that's not actually bad. It's just they love cheese, they love burgers, they love beer. They're amazing people. Wisconsinites are amazing people. Big W. Honestly, being fat is a W if you're from Wisconsin. That's my final say on the matter. If you're a fat person in Wisconsin, you're living large and you deserve to continue living large. We love people from Wisconsin.
Here for over 150 years.
When did you notice something
W in
was
chat for Wisconsin.
amiss in this house?
The main thing was probably right around the
They
end
shouldn't
of
build
February.
data centers.
You know,
Maybe
we're
in
turning on the
Chicago.
faucets.
Illinois should have data centers. Minnesota, I don't know. I like Minnesotans too. Like their food is disgusting, and a lot of Somalis, but I like Minnesota too. Dakotas, nah, the Dakotas, the Indians should be able to have the Dakotas. Yeah, Illinois, Indiana. I like Indiana too. It's very freaky, but I feel like Indiana should. Yeah, Indiana probably should. Honestly, it's so bleak there anyway. Wisconsin's just a beautiful place full of beautiful people, so it shouldn't have data centers.
The water is kind of discolored. It's
Yeah,
not
Illinois.
Real
Put them all in
great.
Illinois.
Then we
dude.
had nothing.
Put all of them in Illinois. Put all the data centers in Illinois, and just get done with it, bro. New York, upstate New York, not Greene County, but like Buffalo. You know, put it in Buffalo near Albany.
Nothing for water. We got someone out to take a look
Yeah,
at that.
Ohio's very nice too. Ohio shouldn't get data centers. Ohioans are very nice people. Pennsylvania, I like Pennsylvanians too. Pennsylvanians, they shouldn't get it. Utah, I don't think so. I don't think it's right because Jimbo's from Utah. Yeah, I'm a very nice person, but it's like Utah. Yeah, Utah. You know, there's not really much there, but you know, we need to deal with the Lego situation before we deal with data centers.
The well, and then they declared it a dry well. You know, you're looking at either
What's
digging
going on in
that well
Kansas?
deeper.
What about Connecticut? No, Connecticut's nice. I think like the East Coast should not really have data centers, honestly, because the East Coast is very beautiful and like the weather's nice. It's a good weather range of summer and winter, and the people there are pleasant, hardworking people, rednecks, a lot of nice people. But it's not like southern rednecks. It's like northern rednecks. Kentucky, though, yeah, put one in Paducah. Why not? Clear. You know what I want now? You know what would be the best outcome? They want to put one in Paducah, and then Beardson's land is on like the plot, so they offer him like $70 million to buy his plot of land, and he takes it. I want that to happen. I want Beardson to become a millionaire from a data center, buying up his plot of land. That would be my dream. Somehow Beardson ends up the richest of everybody because he has land where a data center wants to be. That would be the funniest. That would be the absolute funniest like outcome for all his haters and everybody who hates him and makes fun of him. It would be so funny for him to just get insanely rich, like just completely insanely rich, doing nothing from a data center.
Or digging a whole new well, which could run you $25,000 depending on how deep
Texas?
you need.
I don't know. I feel bad for Texas, so I literally feel bad. I feel like Texas has failed already, so it's just like. But I like a lot of. Asmodor was from Texas, and he was a legend. He was a real out of control cowboy type. So I can't, I have like pity towards Texans.
to go.
Folks, let's look at the scale of data center water usage. A single large data center can consume up to 5 million gallons of water a day, which is equivalent to the daily water consumption of a town of 50,000 people. Also, roughly 2/3 of all new data centers being constructed are located in regions facing severe water shortages. In fact, some of our key countries' water basins are at risk. The Colorado River, which 40 million people depend on, is being targeted by data centers despite the river already being in the midst of a 2-decade drought. The water levels of the Great Salt Lake in Utah are so low that residents are scared they will be facing dust storms. And in Wisconsin, where developers say they will funnel heated data center wastewater back into Lake Michigan, people are concerned that these elevated water temperatures may destroy the local ecosystems. So for many, these risks to our fresh water supplies don't seem to be worth it. Tell me in the comments what you
Yeah, I don't like this. I don't like it. But it's probably gonna happen. It's gonna happen anyway. But like, this stuff is true. Like, worrying about this stuff is actually real. Like, data centers are gonna be like you kind of need them. Like, you kind of need them in your country to be relevant, because if you own them now, you have, it's like a data. It's like oil, really. Like it's essentially like building these oil wells, which is basically building this infrastructure for artificial intelligence or whatever. Because the better it gets, the more useful it has. The more use it has, it is more valuable. The more valuable it is, the more you can exert power. So you almost do need, like, America's kind of lucky in that sense that we have so much land to do this. But it is going to be kind of weird and industrial, and it is going to cause a lot of problems. And then once again, the biggest problem is when it's more valuable to destroy a local community to put up a data center, because we don't have any like really worker or like citizen protections and like normal person protections, because America's very like bad in that sense. That's just going to really fuck over a lot of people. And then those people are going to move into areas that are nearby and disrupt those areas, right? And it really is going to have these really, really bad effects, like genuinely horrible effects. And because these things aren't like nationalized, they really should be nationalized, because the money's just going to go to weird people and like bad people who already have a ton of money. It's not really going to go towards the citizens. So it is going to have really, really bad effects, but I don't think you can really stop it. I think it's one of those things. We're just going to become like a data center world.
you think?
At this point, are you worried about quality of your own drinking water?
We've stopped drinking our water.
Who do you
Data
call?
centers only use like 5% of the water as a farm does. Unless water is polluted, I don't see the issue with the data centers. It's going to take in electricity, make electricity more expensive. It's going to disrupt the ecosystem, these huge buildings that are just miles and miles, birds and migration patterns of animals. It's just going to be ugly, and it's going to mess with traffic routes. It's going to be really bad, honestly. Like, it's going to happen because it's like needs to happen for the technology, and it's a money-making opportunity that's like really, really good. So it's definitely going to happen, but it is actually going to be really bad for like just like society and nature and people and communities. It's going to mess up a lot of stuff, and it's going to price people out of like computer components are not going to get cheaper ever again in our entire lifetime. Like, I guarantee it. Not really, but almost guarantee it. Like everything's going to get more, like electronics are going to get more expensive, like graphics cards, RAM, CPUs, because it's like they're just going to be bought up by competitors and stuff, and they have infinite money essentially. And it's going to really just make everything's gonna get way more expensive, like technology wise, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's like it is going to negatively impact a ton of people who are relying on stuff. And then like the tech economy too, like white collar work is going to get really, really messed up, which is then going to add more competition for like plumbing, being a plumber, being an electrician, being stuff like that, which is then going to drive those prices down because you have more competition for that. So it's going to be less valuable, it's going to actually, it's actually kind of like, it's going to cause like a cascade of problems.
In this situation,
I don't know. We started out with our local city council, who seems
Yeah, honestly, if you want to make money, just buy like a CPU and wait. Just buy RAM sticks if you have like $10,000 and you just want to like save it, you don't want to like, whatever. You don't have anything to spend it on. Just buy $10,000 worth of RAM sticks and just bury them for a year, and you can probably double your money.
I have no interest in anything that's going on in this township.
Have you tried contacting a lawyer?
Yeah, my husband did some calling around, and there wasn't a single one that wanted to talk to us about any of this.
Why do you think that is?
Does anybody want to take on $1 billion,
Another Microsoft data center possibly coming to southeast Wisconsin. For the last several months, the Village of Caledonia board's been discussing proposals for a data center there.
Prescott Balch. I live in Caledonia. I was part of the...
I bought a used game PC with the East Inspection, right, just for the RAM bubble. Yeah, when we bought, so for my fiance, we bought like the components to build a computer. So we built a computer together, and then we got like a 30 or 4060 or 4090 or something like that, and then nice RAM and stuff. And the 4060 was already like $1,000 or $2,000 something like that. This is like a few years ago. And then the RAM was cheap. Now though, that RAM is worth like $1,000, which is crazy, which is like insane. I think it was like $150 when we bought it.
Group that pushed back on the Microsoft data center in Caledonia.
Not because we're opposed to development, and we're in favor of maintaining the beauty and rural nature of this village.
The first thing that you notice when you look at these proposals is every single one of them is in a small town. They're doing that because the land is cheap and they can find proximity to power, which is the key attribute. A small town is no match for a Fortune 50 company when it comes to negotiating terms. And many of these small towns are desperate for some growth. They're desperate for some economic activity, and they get wined and dined and shown big giant numbers that they can only dream of. And they just want to figure out how to make the best deal as fast as possible, get it approved, and start reaping the rewards.
Across the country, we are hearing reports of people being distressed by the noise that these data centers are making. From Wisconsin,
it's just a high-pitched drone sound.
I can hear it inside my house, and that's what concerns me.
To Mississippi.
For months now, this is the sound communities near the plant hear.
To Arizona.
Neighbors say you'll start to hear a really irritating noise that you can't ever unhear.
This constant noise is driving some people crazy, and it has another sick side effect. It makes it nearly impossible for people to sell their homes, because at the end of the day, who would want to live next to a data center that puts out a relentless 24/7 hum?
It makes me feel like we just don't matter.
Your well that you've lived.
Well, unfortunately, you're correct. Unfortunately, that is the state.
On for decades, it goes dry. Another company that moved in that doesn't even live here gets the access. It's feeling really Israeli and tactics to me. The water is what keeps a family going, and if we're willing to knock that off for families, what are we even signing ourselves up for? After all, if we don't have water, what do we have to live?
My name is Ben Green. I'm an assistant professor at the University of Michigan School of Information and the Ford School of Public Policy. So data centers use a lot of water, primarily for cooling. Developers will talk about things like closed loop systems. I think that does reduce the water use of the cooling. What I've seen is more than half of the water use of a data center is not directly in the cooling, but is in the generation of the electricity in a power plant that is then used to power the data center, provide the electricity for it.
And as these spurt up around the country and more of them grow, what are the potential implications on our water supply of this?
These data centers are just generally draining the water supply and could lead to issues where, there's not enough water, and it's like, does the data center get water first? If there's a drought and people are being told to limit their water intake, not to water their lawns and so on, are data centers actually receiving that same limitation? Probably not.
Wisconsin is the largest freshwater resources of any state in the country, and there's a reason data centers are popping up close to these resources is because they need massive amounts of water, and they can use like 3 to 5 million gallons of water a day, and companies will tout a closed loop cooling system. We really don't know what this closed loop cooling system is actually going to mean for water use for these sites, or what happens to the water after it's gone through the closed loop.
What is leading you to become a whistleblower?
Some practices that I don't agree with.
I was approached by a whistleblower who's worked with the biggest data center companies in the world, including Meta and Amazon Web Services.
Bro, there's unlimited water under the ground. There is an unlimited water, dude. There's it's gonna be bad, bro. I don't know why you're acting this way. It's just it genuinely is gonna be bad for a lot of people. Like, you can like it. Like, I like the AI. I think it's really cool. I think it's awesome. But it is actually going to get worse and worse as time goes on for a lot of people.
services. Because he is still actively employed by one of these tech giants, he needed to remain completely anonymous, but what he said is chilling.
We're building the security apparatus that spies on every American. We're essentially building the digital prison of the future. A system that knows you
Also,
better
this
than
is
you
retarded
know
because they
you.
can make
Do you think we
use of the
have
desalinization plant. No, it's not retarded, dude. It's like people's homes, people's like families, people's, you don't like, how would you feel if your family's home was like plopped, like a 10,000 mile concrete block was plopped in your like neighborhood? Like, that's not actually nice. It's not actually good. It's actually bad.
To worry about as far as water consumption from the data center?
Yes, unfavorable billing practices. My company pays close to $250,000 per year in water usage. Every single day, we put almost
They
100,000
probably avoid, if I had to guess, they probably avoid Florida and like the coast for like hurricanes and stuff.
gallons of water into the atmosphere. And I wanted to talk about how we were using an Israeli
This is
cybersecurity company
libtard
to
Gen
monitor
6. It's not libtard, dude. I don't know what you're on lately, dude. It's not libtards. Wisconsin people are not libtards. I don't know what you're up to, but no, it's not. What are you doing, dude? It's not libtard to not want your town destroyed by a big tech company that doesn't even know who you are, and like your entire way of life destroyed, and there to be a huge concrete giant like rectangle that's taking up your entire town, like making your electricity more expensive, messing with your water, making a loud noise, whoever knows what else. It's like there was like companies used to dump like toxic waste into the Hudson River. It's not libtard to be like, I don't want companies dumping toxic waste. Well, but what if they didn't? It's like what they did. That's what's going to happen with all this stuff. Like, you can have all the agreements and the oh yeah, we'll make sure that you get 100% of the water, and it's not going to affect your electricity, and it's going to get built, and then it's going to be like, oh, actually, it is actually destroying your water, and it actually is making it unaffordable for you to live here. Oh well, too bad. That's how it works. That's how the world works, and it's like, that's not libtard to care about that.
all employee communities.
Towns are already destroyed by opiates and meth and debt. Yeah, I don't know. You sound like a Jewish person, dude. Banned again. I unbanned you today, but very weird. Very weird, like, not non-empathy towards people getting their stuff stolen, and also getting their country destroyed by stuff. It's very weird. Very weird behavior, dude. Yeah, and it brings no jobs either. It's literally just like, they just pay off the leaders of the city or the town and whatever. They get paid off. The average person doesn't get any benefit, right? It's not like you get a benefit if a Amazon center goes into your neighborhood. This is even worse because an Amazon place has jobs, but it's like that is like, it's just like, no, it's like at a certain point, it's bad. Like, it's bad. It's going to happen, but it's bad. Two things can be true at once, which is that I'm going to use the tooling. I enjoy it. I think it's good. And also, it's going to have really, really bad effects for a lot of really nice people.
And all of the status of our equipment.
Do you know what company that was?
The company's name is
Why don't they build those in the wilderness? Because they want the town's power grid. They need the power grid of towns, and they need the resources like the water and the power grids of where people live. You can't just build it in the middle of nowhere because it takes so much power, and they need like the lines and all that stuff. So it needs the infrastructure. So like, if it needs the infrastructure, what do you think is going to happen to the people using the infrastructure? They're going to be like essentially destroyed. Like, their entire going to be destroyed.
Checkpoint.
This is Checkpoint co-founder Shlomo Kramer. He's an Israeli.
Dude, that's crazy. Kramer Shlomo.
Cybersecurity entrepreneur who served in the IDF's notorious Unit 8200, which is the equivalent of America's NSA and is Israel's most elite cyber warfare group. Here's what he said on national television about free speech in the United States.
It's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it.
This Tel Aviv-based company is used by every single one of the top 50 companies in the Fortune 500, and with Kramer's attitude on free speech, his direct ties back to Unit 8200, and Israel's stranglehold elsewhere in this country, I can't help but feel concerned when a company connected to a foreign spy agency is acting as the cybersecurity gatekeeper for almost every major corporation in America.
Shave that mustache, bro.
John Mazzarella. I own and operate Coastal Crypto. It's a data center mining operation facility.
To get the other side of the coin, we sit down with John Mazzarella. He's the owner of Coastal Crypto, a company which repurposes old industrial sites into crypto mining data centers. Here's what he had to say.
We tried to take a different approach to it. We saw that there was a lot of abandoned power, failing grid systems, buildings that were just vacant for years. Big issue right now with Google in my area is how much water they're going to consume. And they're saying it's proprietary information. I'm sure some of it's proprietary. I don't put that by them, but let's open up the doors a little bit. Why are we using so much water? Well, what kind of situations are we using with the water? Because there's water that gets recycled, there's water that gets captured, there's water that gets evaporated. What kind of impact is their water usage actually going to have to that local economy? That information needs to be divulged.
The physical building will last nearly forever. It's, concrete and steel, and they last a long time. They are very unique buildings. They're not like warehouses, they're not like office buildings. They don't have windows, they don't have tall ceilings. The historical average over the last 40 years is that a data center is good for 15 to 25 years, and then the technology change catches up with it, and it's not economically viable to retrofit it with the latest. The future reuse possibilities are limited. I don't think any of these municipalities looking into this are thinking about that risk.
The local political people are enjoying the influx of money, and there's a lot of local people who are enjoying the influx of money. Nobody wants to even hear the local people who are paying the price.
Let's wrap our heads around why, despite widespread citizen protest, local government officials continue to push through data centers. One big reason is the absolutely real boom of construction jobs, and the other is the pledge of massive tax revenue. Now, in places like Loudoun County, Virginia, estimates project that over $1 billion in taxes is coming to the county budget by taxing the servers inside the data centers. But for most other towns, this gets a little murky. You see, developers use a loophole called a TIF, which is a tax incentive that essentially takes the new promised property taxes and recycles them right back to pay for the data center's own infrastructure. So on paper, the town looks like it's getting rich, but in reality, it's not the citizens who benefit, it's just another tax break for big tech.
I just want that money so badly. I want that revenue. I want to be able to get the new construction on my books so that I have a higher valuation so that I can raise taxes.
Yeah, the respect people, they weren't all fat and ugly. No, dude. You guys gotta, lock in and understand. These are just amoral people. They don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care if you're good looking or not. They don't care about any of this. They're just going to plop down these buildings because it's like a game of Sims to them.
For the village and not raise taxes on each individual, because I've got this big taxpayer providing a big slug of new money. But like all things too good to be true.
Can you explain the SpaceX situation? What SpaceX situation?
Because of those.
I don't know if you're referencing this, but they're setting it up so all these tech companies can get into the S&P 500. And I could be getting specific details wrong, but the gist of it is they are setting it up so all these companies get put into retirement funds immediately. And that way they immediately get they'll never crash because they're in every single retirement fund. It's a big scam they're doing with all the new tech companies. They'll do it with Anthropic. They'll do it with OpenAI. They'll do it with, SpaceX. It does essentially just subsidizing these tech companies to just basically instantly be not worried about at all ever their stock ever going down.
Risks. They're outsized risks.
Most of the stories I see about data centers are about citizens losing the fight. But then I got wind of news out of Tucson, Arizona, where the citizens organized, fought back, and won. This is local leader Jennifer, and she tells us how.
My name is Jennifer Allen. I am the District 3 Supervisor and Vice Chair of the Pima County Board of Supervisors. We had been told on the Board of Supervisors that there was a project kind of being cooked up called Project Blue. We were not given much information at all, not until right up before the vote that we took to approve it. We were told that we couldn't get much more information because of a non-disclosure agreement, but we were also told that we couldn't talk about it because of a non-disclosure agreement.
Another concerning aspect of data centers is the standard practice of imposing NDAs that prevent locals from knowing key details that impact their own city. For example, in the town of Dallas in Oregon,
everyone's being
Google built
squeezed and you
massive
gotta move
data centers.
fast. You gotta do things. move fast, lock in, because this isn't a matter of winning, this is a matter of surviving. Where we are in terms of positioning and stuff like that, we shouldn't be worried about winning, we should be worried about surviving. Because we are not, none of us are going to stop a data center from being built. So if we can't even stop a building from being built, you think you're going to change the country? You think any of us are going to change the country? We can't stop a data center, dude. It's time to lock in and realize we need to basically be productive in our own sense and not try to stop the big monster from putting buildings in. And if we can't stop the monster from putting buildings in, do you think we can stop the monster from importing people? I don't think so, dude. It's not real. Paul, can't you just feed us white lies? I would make a lot more money if I did, if I was capable of it. But it's not by virtue of bravery or whatever. It's just like I'm very autistic about being correct. So yeah, it's not like oh, I'm working so hard, I'm sacrificing. It's like no, I'm like compulsively pedantic about stuff.
There's there and the local government.
Honest to fault, not quite. Just being like just obnoxiously trying to be correct.
NDA refused to tell the public how much water Google was using. After a prolonged legal battle and a lawsuit led by the town's local newspaper, The Oregonian, the city was forced to release these records, and it turns out that these data centers were using
Is it
over
worse
a quarter
though? The
of
manufacturing,
city's
farming,
water.
etc. Do they have real runoff issues? The thing is, it's going to be worse because there's going to be more and more data centers. That's the problem. Is that like there's no reason to ever stop building data centers. That's what you have to understand. It's like there's literally no reason. With AI and the boom of AI, there's never in our lifetime probably going to be a reason to stop finding new areas to build these new huge blocks of buildings because it just prints money essentially. So it's just like the entire surface area of the country should be a data center.
Supply. And folks, it's stories
Yeah,
like
the whole
this that
world needs to
increase
be a data
people's
center.
paranoia around data centers.
That's the
when
problem.
On one hand, big tech tells us that there's nothing to worry about, but on the other hand, they silence local officials and keep the usage around town resources.
Yeah, Venice is
secret
crashing.
from the
Venice was at $20 yesterday. Now it's at $16, barely over $16. It's going down, 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 down. It's over, guys. AI is crashing.
very people that live there.
Sell.
We sat in
Sell
near
now.
silence and in the dark until Beal, the developer of Project Blue, gave a more comprehensive-ish presentation to the board when it was first proposed.
Sell everything, guys. It's going to zero. I shouldn't have lied to you. I shouldn't have lied to you. I was greedy. You should have sold at 20 because that's like the peak it's ever going to be. Now it goes the long, slow trip down to $2, $1, 30 cents, 20 cents, 5 cents, 2 cents, 1/5 of a cent, 1/50th of a cent, 1/1000th of a cent, stuff like that. That's what's going to happen.
Was going to be a water-cooled system, meaning they were just going to keep pumping water, tens of thousands of gallons of water every day. We're a desert. We live in a beautiful desert, a lush desert, but it is a desert no less, with increasingly extreme heat, with longer periods of drought. We simply cannot sustain water-hungry industries like data centers.
Our water situation here is vastly different than it used to be. Our property values are probably actively tanking as we stand here and talk. But you look around here, there's no standing water anywhere. You drive to Fond du Lac and look in the fields on your way back towards Green Bay. There's water everywhere.
Does it feel like a hostile takeover of your own land and water?
It feels like a hostile takeover of my township. Why do we need to bury family farms and make fortunes for some people and steal fortunes from other people?
That's true.
So cats can wear hats. It doesn't make sense.
True.
So while farmers in Beaver Dam are worried about their wells running dry due to Meta's data center, 90 miles away in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin, Microsoft has moved in. And Prescott explains how locals are worried about a massive tax increase coming their way.
Mount Pleasant puts $1 billion of new valuation on their books, which equals 17% increase in their total valuation. That meant they could raise their taxes 17%. Well, they chose to only raise it 8%.
They make it sound like using water means it gets sapped out of existence. It's not that. It's like if we have 10 gallons of water, right? There's 10 gallons of water, everyone here. And I say, well, I'm going to drink 9 gallons of water because I need to because I'm a data center. Don't worry, I'll piss it out later. At the end of the day, yes, the water is going to be, but like when the water comes, it's like for crops, for stuff like that, for like all that stuff. It's like the timing of it, when it's happening, how it's going, how it's going to affect the temperature, where, that sort of thing. All that stuff does matter. And the pricing of stuff is going to be different because there's way more demand for water. It actually does matter. Like it actually does. It is going to impact. I can't tell you the exact, but it's not like it's not going to do anything.
And then hid that increase behind some other line item reductions to sort of hide it from the community members. The developer of the data center does not start contributing to that general fund until that tax increment district is closed out. Microsoft, in the case of Mount Pleasant, is not paying a dime towards that 8% increase. That is coming on the backs of every person in Mount Pleasant.
If we don't start standing up for what is right, this is going to continue forever until it's too late.
That's
They're
once again
operating as a business. They have a lot of.
That's what I mean. Is like it's going to happen anyway. You should be sympathetic to the people it's going to screw over. There's zero downside to being sympathetic towards the people who are being screwed over because it's going to happen. Because it works, it's used. Why not be empathetic to the person who's suffering? You know what I mean? Why not benefit? It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Why not be, instead of being antagonistic to these people, have a little heart, be a little graceful, be kind.
Negotiating power when they're choosing these sites, and they get tax exemptions when they do so. They're not playing by the rules that you and I have to play by.
That's what the water looks like. And if the mayor of Beaver Dam wants to come drink it, she can. So at this point, it's completely contaminated. For sure.
So all this sand
just came out of that faucet, yeah.
And that never happened before?
No. Anybody want a drink?
Not fast.
What you see here is sand and sediment in Scott's water. And if you've seen AOC's viral clip talking about Georgia drinking water, you've seen this before.
This is what the drinking water now looks like next to that data center. And I think both of us can agree that neither one of these things are drinkable.
For people near data centers, this can happen, and it's for two main reasons. First is the heavy construction shaking up the local water table, and second is because of the vacuum-like pressure that comes when a data center is sucking millions of gallons of the town's water supply. Now, sand is obviously bad, but for those even more unlucky, they're worried about losing their water supply altogether. How long have you been out of your job?
It's probably been about a good year.
And how long did you work on the data center?
About 4, going on 5 years.
5? Wow.
Yeah.
So this project has been in development for a long time.
Yeah, it was all over the newspapers before they were even here, just because everybody was so excited because it was bringing jobs and work and just things like that.
It does bring jobs initially, but as soon as it's done and built, then it's kind of...
Yeah.
And so it's built, functioning, and there's no more...
It basically runs itself, and you don't need that many people, after you build everything.
How well did they pay people to work on this project?
At first, it was barely like $14, $15. As of now, they pay people pretty good because they don't have as many people.
Is water plentiful in these parts?
You can see they've almost dried out this section of the lake right here.
Folks, behind me right now is the body of water that cools these data centers. And if you look over here, this is a lake that 5 years ago was full and now it is dried up. And I think it's fair to ask ourselves and be afraid, are these water sources going to be dried up in 5 years, 10 years? And what are the implications on our everyday life when that happens? Will we be regulated to showering on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays while these data companies get full usage of our water?
Won't impact me.
Will this clean water turn into toxic water? Will it creep through into our aquifers and water tables? And at what cost to the average person will these operations have? And the problem is that when you try and dig into these matters, oftentimes these are classified things protected by NDAs because it's company secret, company information. And we as the people I think have a right to know what direction this is headed, especially if it's our water supply, and one of the most basic things that we need to live. Folks, it may sound like I'm being overly dramatic, but you have to know what is happening behind closed doors. Across the country, data centers are making extremely lopsided, secretive deals with local governments that border on predatory. In many of these arrangements, data centers lock in massive water and power contracts that are shielded from the public eye. And because they get special wholesale rates, mega corporations often pay less for water and power than you do in your own town. Some states, like Wisconsin, are fighting back and requiring data centers to cover their costs, but in most cases, citizens pay the price, like in Virginia, where electricity prices have increased by over 267% in the last 5 years. Does the town feel like this is a benefit to the community?
As far as having a job, maybe.
I don't know why they don't just build them overseas. Well, because you kind of want the stuff inside the country. You can get 67. You want them on your land. It is like oil, right? Data centers are like oil, essentially. You don't want somebody else to have them. If you have them on the country, that's intelligence on tap eventually. We're not there yet, but it's getting closer and closer.
And I got a sore spot in my throat for it because of what I went
through. Yeah, we
but
just all drink water.
Then when I was, making money with them, it was a good thing.
A lot of Americans, we fear that with this AI growth and this data center growth, that a lot of jobs will be replaced with AI, leaving a lot of people jobless while we have these really rich people at the top getting even more rich.
But I could believe it because at this point, if you're not building more like they are, it basically runs itself. And the only thing you have to do is maintenance.
One of the biggest red flags is that we, the people, are going to be screwed by these deals.
Yes, your water bill will go up about 100% over a period of time. I'm not sure.
2 years, 5 years?
Probably about 5 years. But the data center will pay the same amount every year for their water usage and power usage because they're viewed as essential.
These are the richest people in the world. I mean, we're talking about Larry Ellison in Port Washington, who's the second richest man on earth.
How did these folks end up getting reserved spots if they're not media?
That's the scene there. Hundreds of trucks moving tons of dirt. It's the sound Port Washington residents have been listening to 24/7. Work being done day and night.
We own this building. We're the taxpayers. Hey, you work for us. Get it?
What you are seeing is concerned citizens trying to attend their city council meeting about data centers, but being told there's not enough room. So instead, they are pushed off into a separate area with no face-to-face contact with the city decision makers.
Is it full in there?
It's full. Yes.
And in one of the last Port Washington meetings, local resident Christine was forcibly removed by police.
Get off of me! Get off of me!
A Port Washington City Council meeting turned into a shouting match, ending with 3 people arrested on Tuesday. All of it because of a recently approved data center.
Get out of the way, Chief. Nope, get out of the way.
We cannot speak for all of you, but we will try and speak for you. Thank you.
This is outrageous. Yeah, thank you.
At this point, the question is not whether opposition exists. It clearly does. The question is whether this council is willing to acknowledge risk, accept responsibility, and change course when warranted.
I don't want to be hyperbolic, but I genuinely believe the data centers and AI in and of itself could potentially be cataclysmic economically. Like, the people of Port Washington are immensely frustrated, as millions of Americans are across the country, because we don't want these technocrats swooping into our communities to steal all of our resources so that they can eventually take our jobs.
Yeah.
We don't have the ability to live the American dream. It's essentially been stolen from us. All of these issues kind of compound on one another, and it's leading to a generation of apathetic, disillusioned, and frankly disinterested individuals who don't want to be members of a democratic society anymore.
It's like $15 billion into this Port Washington data center to create, 100 jobs?
By my calculations, if Port Washington takes the full amount of the new construction, their taxes will increase 50%. The city taxes will increase 50% over the course of the next probably 7
Yeah, we don't even water you.
7 or 8 years.
Showers.
I think you should tell people that. Tell people that's your plan, and then see how excited they are about it.
Amanda Mueller lives a half-mile from the site.
Right now it's very bright. We call it the land of the midnight sun. You can't see the stars anymore.
City officials say working overnight means the build-out will be done and the city will see tax benefits sooner. But this group isn't holding their breath.
Hundreds of people just started showing up and expressing lots of concerns about the use of water and energy and the costs And that momentum just kept growing and growing, and they were successful in getting the city of Tucson to back out and to agree not to annex the property, which meant that Beale was stuck with our 290 acres, and all this plan that they had cooked up just fell flat. Knowing what we know now, I wish we'd had all of those things in place before, so that we would have had greater opportunity to stop the project, a lot more information, a lot more transparency, and just tools for community to be involved and draw the line.
Initially, when we interviewed Jennifer out in Tucson, it was a victory story. The people had shut down and the city council had shut down a data center coming to town. But I just saw an update that the Arizona Corporation Commission is trying to push it through despite the will of the people. And so it's not looking like a victory for the people, it's looking like a victory for big tech. We'll see how the story continues. What are the revenue streams from a data center?
They are humongous. So, for example, if I plug in one server to another, that is $300 per month from that just one fiber connection. Now, there are millions of fiber connections inside of every single data center. The numbers are so large that you can't even comprehend how much money that it is.
Right now, all over the country, big tech is offering individual farmers tens of millions of dollars for their land and spending billions on construction. And you might be wondering, how will they be making all this money back? Because yes, they make subscription money by charging people $20 a month for ChatGPT, or they sell massive corporations AI software packages, and this does bring in a good chunk of change. But in reality, this money does not make a dent in what they are currently spending. Essentially, these tech companies are making a giant gamble to become the AI superpower of the future, which to them is a trillions of dollars winner takes all race. And if this bet does not pay off, the crash of this AI bubble will be felt globally. In fact, some experts warn that a collapse would wipe out as much of $33 trillion in market value, and this would plunge the stock market by as much as 40 to 60%. Yikes.
What do you see as the biggest
It's just be
misconceptions
subsidized
that
by
a
the
lot
government.
of people who are up in arms have about these data centers?
Again, it's educating on these smaller details. Internet. I'm not tapping into the town's, fiber line and bringing in my own. I'm not pulling residual power from the town. I'm, increasing the consumption of power for the town, or I'm increasing the grid structure. So I'm not stealing anything. I'm not taking away from somebody that could use it. I'm trying to bring more infrastructure and stability to a grid system or a network system or a community that needs jobs.
What comes to your mind when you see all this?
Yo, Ian
I mean,
Carroll.
a big metaphor, a huge metaphor,
Yo,
a giant
Ian Carroll,
hulking
dude.
carcass
The
of a
goat.
metaphor of industry that used to be built by American
The goat.
workers, by men using their hands with skills, trades. And obviously this was built by workers, but now, we're talking to one of them that kind of got discarded. There's a bunch of reporting on how they promised 300 jobs and actually wound up hiring 14.
Now, these billion-dollar facilities only employ 100 people, some of them security staff, some of them janitorial staff, but they will claim that they bring 1,000 jobs or more to the area per building. But that's not the case. They use contractors that travel from outside the locality, and all of these jobs are not permanent jobs.
Their main workforce is the minor maintenance, what I was saying. Once the computers go down, they bring them in racks, and they just refurbish them.
And how long until it's robots maintaining them? How long until it's like a Tesla bot just walking around, just changing racks, checking switches?
And you probably could automate that like a car, like an assembly line.
If this giant carcass of a building isn't the perfect metaphor for what's happening all around America with these data centers, I don't know what is.
Kaiser, you've been looking into this extensively for the last 3 or 4 years. Tell me about that.
So it used to be warehouses, kind of. It started with development in Bensenville, Illinois.
Kaiser runs a YouTube channel called Stringer Media, and he's been spending the last few years going around the country covering communities that have been taken over by data centers. Today, we see what Microsoft has done in Mount Pleasant, Wisconsin.
Essentially, a warehouse developer bought all of these people's homes. Perfectly nice houses. One day they're there, next they're gone.
You go from a functioning community to an industrial wasteland.
Yeah.
When you look at
everybody's just
AGI,
gone.
I don't think you're ever get AGI. You don't need it. You just need stuff to be good at stuff, and it already is good stuff. But we'll get robots doing things. That'll be the next step. It's like you think of the average person. Are they AGI? I don't really think so. They can barely function. So all you need them to be able to do is a job, moving stuff around, picking up packages, putting packages down, driving, turning knobs, that sort of stuff. Really, people are not that AGI even. So I don't even think you even need AGI.
So I could take you to a
We
street
at the
that's been
bottom?
bought
The
out.
bottom of what?
To
No,
me,
dude.
what I think of when I
We're at the top, bro. $15? It's the highest it'll ever go, bro. Sell everything now, bro. Sell, sell, sell. If you know it's good for you, sell everything immediately, dude. Yeah, it's not the bottom. It's a trap. That's not the bottom. That's a trap door.
I look at a place like this as, look, a nice little yard. Kids could play in the prairie. There was a bird feeder. There was a family here that had a great time, but we're in a time where a lot of people are economically pinched, and if you come to someone's doorstep and offer them way over market, a lot of people are in a position where they kind of have to take it, or they feel like that's their ticket to a future in America. And like, I think if we were in more prosperous times, or the middle class was stronger, the data centers wouldn't have as much luck as they are emptying out these neighborhoods as they are right now.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Most of these houses were older people. It's a lot of money. You know, they probably had these houses before even the highway was here. These warehouses and data centers might
Just
be a
subscribed.
Thank you very much. One gifted sub, Army Girl 7.
07 just gifted one
Destroying
subscription
Poet
on
Graver
Kick.
with the donuts. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
abandoned along the line. Maybe they're obsolete.
Actually, a pretty likely option is that we're going to be left with these giant shelves of buildings that in most of these agreements the companies are not responsible for taking care of, and it's going to be the people that have to deal with them, and they're not easy spaces to convert into human spaces again.
It's one of those gold rushes, you know? Everyone's trying to hop on the money, just do as much as they can, and eventually maybe it'll die down or something like that. And then what are you left with? Just destroyed nature and empty buildings.
Some people might say, if you're
That's
against
very nice, Big
data
Bongo.
centers, you're against
Very
progress,
nice, dude.
and that's anti-American.
I mean, there's a strong current of that, but I disagree. I think it's very American to want to say, you know, we don't want to just have monopolistic overlords. We care about our communities. We want to have local community voice is very important, very American. AI is being dominated and developed by a handful of companies that do not care about the public interest. And so the types of AI that they're going to develop are not going to be utopian things. They're going to, you know, develop tools that are not very helpful, that put workers out of jobs, kind of poisoning kids' brains, stopping people from learning. Some people might call that innovation, but to me, that's just bad.
Look, the average American should be locked into to what AI and what data centers are going to do in their lives. I think 30 million jobs in the coming years that we're going to see lost from AI. Keep an eye on your community zoning. What I'll say is there are little signs or signals that will pop up when data centers are about to move in.
You follow Elon Musk at all, he's all about data centers going to space. So I'm all for it if that's the case, if that's where they go, 100%. But you're still going to need some kind of position on Earth for them to be transmitting the data back and forth. Biggest advice or recommendation I can give to anybody is just do your research. If I have the answers, I'll try to answer them. If I don't have the answers, I'll help you research them myself. Hopefully form up an opinion based on fact, not emotion.
I am really nervous watching this data center story develop. It feels like it's out of control, but I do have to say I am a bit of a hypocrite because I use AI.
You still think Elon Musk? Yeah, dude. He's like a government. He's a government stooge, bro. You can't launch rockets without being part of the government. I'm sorry. You can't be like launching stuff into space. You're not even allowed to do that. Bro has literally the highest security clearance in America. He's retarded. Every time he interacts with everybody, he's retarded. He just lies about being a good video gamer for some reason. And then also, he's just like a bizarre little freak. His kids are trans. He's a bizarre little dude.
Day to day. I use it to edit my writing. I use it to source research. It's truly an amazing tool. But to me, it's key that this is done sustainably. We have to prioritize people, their homes, their communities, their resources first before big tech. And right now it feels like big tech is just getting the seat at the table, and we the people are shunted off to the side, and our leaders, both local and national, don't give a shit about us. It's a troubling trend because right now they're trying to keep AI from being regulated for 10 years with the big beautiful bill, and that could be disastrous. And I don't know about you, but I want a world that not only are you and me proud to live in, but that we can give to our kids. That is our duty. We need to do that. And to think that's even something that we might not do is outrageous. So
Yeah, you should have an AI sponsor.
I look at history, I look at presidents like Teddy Roosevelt that made the national parks, that loved nature and went after
This
big
is sponsored
business
by
when it was
Codex.
necessary. And I look at what's happening
I've been
in
using
current
Codex
day,
a lot.
and it feels like we're dealing with people that don't even go outside.
I've never been so worried about the future. Don't be worried about it. I mean, what's gonna happen is gonna happen. That's like the thing is like, I personally think the data centers will be successful and they'll just keep going and it's be like a eyesore. But it's gonna happen whether or not we know. All right, so it's like I'm not worried about it. The reason I think it's gonna happen is because it works. Like AI works already. It's gonna get better and AI already works. So it's like if it works, people are gonna use it. I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if it's nice or not. It's just going to happen. Like a good example would be Anchorage, Alaska. Like it was built because they had to refuel, going from Europe to America. So they would stop the planes in Anchorage, and then they would refuel the planes. And because of that, you had a town. You have like Anchorage, Alaska. It was very busy. People were kind of chill out. Once you had technology increase to the degree where you don't need to stop in Anchorage, who goes to Anchorage? It's like a bad place. Alaska's kind of a bad place to be now. So why would anybody ever go to Alaska, right? And it sucks for all the people who had their houses, who had their community, all that stuff. But because the technology works, of course we're gonna follow technology because that makes things faster, more efficient. It's the same thing with AI. Like it's going to make people's like towns not be able to afford electricity. It's gonna like cause problems with water. It's going to cause like ecological problems with birds and deer and whatever, even like how our water is distributed, electricity prices. But it's going to happen because it works. If it didn't work, then it wouldn't happen. But it works, so it doesn't really matter whether people like that's like I think a thing people need to come to grips with. I think because we haven't had any real serious wars in a long time, since like World War II, I think like Americans and Europeans and everyone else pretty much, there hasn't really been like this existential understanding of, hey, guess what I like, it doesn't matter. Like what's going to happen is going to happen. And I am not, destiny is like not individual, it's kind of a group thing. And having to deal with that like uncomfortableness of, hey, guess what, I don't want this to happen, but there's zero way I can stop this. Like there are certain things that you don't want to have happen, but they're going to happen. Like you're gonna die, I'm gonna die. Bad things are gonna happen. We're gonna have disasters, tragedies, horrible things, but it's gonna happen. And there's certain things you just can't prevent. And one of these is like if technology makes things better, makes things more efficient at least, it's going to be adopted by people you can't stop.
Don't smell flowers, don't touch grass, and don't care about our kids' future. And I don't like that at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't mind
So
the
we
video.
have to
It's I
fight
guess
that.
I like it because it's like not political. It's not like a right wing thing or like about like immigration or something. It's like actually something that left wing and right wing people can kind of relate to. I think it's like it's a nice topic. I think it's a nice topic because it's not about race. It's not even about like gender, race, or like who Republican, Democrat. It's like something that there's like normal people and then there's people who are benefiting from it.
You have to organize locally. You have to get
But I
informed,
agree. It wasn't super
And we
interesting.
can win this battle because just remember the Bugs Life movie, the ants outnumber the grasshoppers. So always keep hope, keep that.
That's the things you can't. It's okay though. One thing I've always been of the opinion of is that you can't, but you shouldn't go out of your way telling people you can't. Like, I think he's wrong, but I wouldn't go out of my way and say, hey, you're just wrong. Don't. Because what if they're right? What if you can stop certain things or do certain things? You don't want to be the person saying, hey, don't try, right? When people try to do stuff, even if I think it's not going to happen, I kind of try to keep to myself my thoughts on their outcome, my thoughts on their possibility of success.
Irish Groipa
Yo.
just subscribed on Kick.
Goated. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Irish Groipa just resubscribed on Kick.
You're the goat, dude. But yeah, it's like I don't think it's really possible to fight, but I don't begrudge people trying. I don't begrudge people being like, I want to, stand up for something I believe in. It was the same reason when that guy set himself on fire, whatever his name was. I didn't like make fun of it because it's like that's not going to make a difference. But it's like you're sacrificing yourself for something you believe in, and there's a poetic aspect to it. There's a human aspect to it. Even the war in Gaza isn't going to stop because of you. It's not going to make a difference. People just move on. But far be it for me to make fun of somebody who's gonna like try to do something, you know, even if it's stupid, you know, by burning themselves alive, like self-immolation. Far be it for me to like mock that or that sort of. It's the same stuff with this, where people acting silly, trying to stop or like trying to do some weird like picketing. That's not gonna make a difference. But I also don't mock it because it's like people are sincere, and sincerity is actually a very valuable trait. Like sincerity is actually really sweet and very hard to find. And so when you find people being sincere, even if what they're being sincere about is kind of retarded, you should try your best to not mock them, because that's something that's very fragile and something that very, you know, and I prefer sincere silly people to cynical silly people, because cynical silly people are the most obnoxious, whereas sincere silly people, they're very lovable in their own way.
Mine. Keep fighting the good fight, and I'll see you next week. Peace.
It's good to have faith, even if it's retarded. It's good to have like goals.